This is the Front Stretch on AM 590, brought to you by Joe's Karting, online at joeskarting.com.
Welcome back to the Front Stretch, fueled by Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs, the Metro's only source for karting. Get to Joe's Karting today, where you're going to be able to get into go-karts that go up to 40 miles an hour. It just depends on how good you are. But has anybody ever gotten these things up a little bit past 40 miles an hour?
Oh, absolutely. You're not going to do.
No, I'm not that good.
No. So, actually, I ain't going to lie here. Dan's not as bad as we make him sound out to be. He's pretty good. Andrew's pretty good. I'm pretty good. But I can tell you, that question is asked a lot. The fastest I've ever clocked, we do have a radar gun there, 52 mile an hour in the right-hand sweeper. The fastest overall ever that I've seen a go-kart go in there was 90 mile an hour. That was a nitromethane cart, and it stunk to high heaven.
Oh, I heard that. It had it had a special mixture in it, didn't it? It wasn't just fuel. It was
nitromethane.
Yeah,
who was driving that, bud? Jordan Krug.
It took a certain speed for it to actually kick into full power, didn't it?
It goes now. Nitromethane. That's funny car fuel. Yeah.
Interesting stuff. Get down to Joe's Karting, get yourself some racing in. I'm Dan Taylor, joined by B-Mod Bud, my good friend Buddy Ray, and Andrew Kaziski. Andrew, thanks again for joining us tonight.
Andrew, you're looking younger and younger every time I see you.
Bud, there must be something else in your cup tonight.
He's kissing up to you tonight because he knows that you guys may run into each other on the track, and he's going to have to get some brownie points in advance.
Well, we don't run against each other, or else he'd run into me a lot more.
Well, if Andrew would get on the throttle, I mean.
The man with the more wins gets to talk.
Thank you.
What did Andrew, you win?
A lot more than you. Andrew, I don't even watch you race, and I know that. So, I should just butt out while I'm ahead. This is the Infield Reporter, salvaged by Kaziski Auto Parts. If you're looking for quality used parts, get down and talk to Andrew at Kaziski Auto Parts. Call 402-731-4592. You guys are located right there on 50th and I, right here in Omaha. It's just off L, about 2-3 blocks north, right?
Yep, right behind the big Kmart. You really can't miss us. We're a big place down there. A lot of people seem to drive right past, but go past the big Kmart. Whole bunch of cars out in the back lot. You can't miss us.
I was actually thinking about, I got to head down there. I guess get some work done on my truck, so I might head down and talk to you guys this week about finding some equipment. Well, we talked a little bit about it earlier in the show. EFI, there's a little bit of mixed feelings in the room, whether it's a problem or whether this is just growing pains. Talk a little bit about what you observed on Sunday.
Well, we talked about it in the first week. Well, I said I think it was going to be a problem. Bud agrees with me. You don't. Now, your favorite racer is Tony Stewart. Mm-hmm. This week, Tony Stewart's the one that had the problem. Basically what happened in the CFI, a breaker switch fell off, kind of like power going out in the vehicle. This is exactly what happened. Now, I'm going to quote Addington here on this. He says, you've got circuits in there, and they all run off sensors and things like that. If it pops that breaker, you're done, and it won't fire back up. Basically, a lot of these crew chiefs, they had Hendricks. Their main guys at Hendricks, probably the best engines out there. They're scratching their heads trying to figure out what is going on with these cars and what do we got to do to fix them. When the car runs out of gas or you're running low, if Harvick would have shut his car off, he might have been able to beat Hamlin. But he couldn't do that probably because he saw, hey, Tony's car just broke. He couldn't get running halfway through the race. Let's not see you do that. It's something they're going to have to figure out what to do because we're dealing with the electronics now. It's not a carburetor, which was an easy fix.
Right. And a carburetor was a really easy thing. It's been in play for so long. Everyone knew ins and outs of it. And this is a new thing. I'm giving EFI a bit of a pass, at least for the 2012 season, because in the bigger picture, it's going to help NASCAR because what they were talking about, that Tony didn't have any business shutting the engine off. He didn't need to because shutting it off doesn't really save you all that much fuel. The biggest thing with EFI is that before, when they were talking about fuel mileage, one of the tricks was to roll into the throttle and roll out of the throttle. NASCAR drivers, and I'm sure you guys may do this, is that you hammer the throttle. It's go now. And with a carburetor, if you put it all the way down, it put 100% fuel into the carburetor. But the engine isn't completely revved up to that point, so it didn't need 100% fuel. What this new EFI does is that you can hammer the throttle down, but it only gives the engine what it needs for the amount of RPMs. When it's only running at, say half RPMs, it's only giving it half fuel because that's all it needs. So when you're under idle and you're under the caution and you're just kind of cruising along, if you take it out of gear, you're only using just a teeny bit more than you would if you shut the engine off. So this is just a learning experience. And yeah, it bit Tony this weekend, but there's been things that have happened. I mean, look at Jimmy Johnson. He had a stud lug issue, and we're not sitting here looking at, oh, well, these lugs need to be fixed. I mean, it's just one of those things. This is a new piece of equipment. There's going to be issues, but I think in the long run, there's going to be more benefits.
You know, with this whole EFI thing, the only thing I don't like about it right now is right now we shouldn't be having problems with EFI. We should not be having problems with breaker switches. You know, these are professional guys getting, $200,000-$300,000 a year to solely work on just a fleet of the exact same car. You know, I would have thought they would have done their homework. And I know, and I'm not trying to beat up on them too much here. I know they've done their homework. NASCAR's come in. They've done testing. They've done all that stuff. Now, on the flip side, what this has done is it's made it a little exciting. So now you don't have, the mediocre drivers, or the lower-rated drivers blowing motors or something going wrong. Who would have thought Tony Stewart would have had a problem like this? Now, yeah, anybody could have a lug nut issue like Jimmy Johnson. But we've seen motors at the Daytona 500 run out of gas. We've seen motors run out of gas at Phoenix. My question is, and this is for you, Andrew, now your family knows a lot of these NASCAR drivers, unbeknownst to a lot of people. With that being said, do you think, years ago when they had the MSD ignitions in the Cup cars, they didn't have one, they had two, they had a backup system. Do you theoretically think it's possible that they could have a backup electrical system for that EFI?
I don't believe they can. I don't know how they're going to. It's like running two carburetors, basically. But, I mean, if they do, they're going to have more wires in the car, more electronics, more chances for some sort of light ground failure, anything. A piece of debris could jump up off the ground and hit one of those wires. It'll short it out. Breakers will switch. Everything. You never know what could happen.
I am obviously a big fan of the EFI. One thing that I really liked about it, we were talking about earlier in the show, was the amount of information that they're able to gather from the EFI. They talked about this, that as soon as the race was over with, Tony Stewart pulled it into the garage, they plugged the laptop into that, and they downloaded all the data, and they were able to find out the problem. And one thing they were able to do, I found this absolutely fascinating. I'm a bit of a numbers geek, and I'm a bit of an information geek. And Matt Kenseth was talking about this on Speed Channel about a week or so ago, right after the Daytona 500. There was this big controversy with Biffle about how obviously he didn't want to win the race because he was helping Matt Kenseth, so he must have been dragging the brake. And I said this myself last weekend, that there's speculation that he was dragging the brake to hold the 88 off and to keep off of the 17 so that they couldn't get a run. Well, after they downloaded that data, NASCAR released the information, and it is undoubtedly Biffle did everything he could to win that race. In the last 2 laps of the race, he never touched the brake pedal, and he never let off the gas. The gas was at 100%. It completely vindicates Greg Biffle from saying that, he was obviously under team orders, and he didn't let the 88 win, and blah, blah, blah. This says, no, he didn't. He tried. He just couldn't get to it, and everything he said was absolutely true, and you wouldn't have got that with carburetors.
One quick note, did you see or hear where NASCAR, for the second week in a row with the Phoenix race, had the most watched event on television in the country?
It's been some great ratings for NASCAR. This has been some great stuff.
But with it being the number one watched show this Sunday on TV, how much of that is due to the prime time Monday night with the 500?
That was one of the largest crowds to have ever watched a NASCAR race. And I think NASCAR stumbled into something that they need to take a really good look at. I don't know if they'll have it on Monday night. I would love to see NASCAR racing on Monday night. But the logistics issue that they were running into was that they then have to get from Daytona International Speedway back to Charlotte and then to Phoenix for the next weekend's race, and you're talking about a shortened week. You've now reduced that to where they pull into Phoenix on Thursdays, and they've got one less day if they race on Mondays. Let's say, hopefully, that they turn the Daytona 500 into a night race, and they get them into a Sunday night primetime crowd. That would be awesome.
Andrew, your thoughts, Monday night or Saturday night at the 500?
Honestly, Monday night. They got Monday Night Football, biggest crowd watching that. I mean, I don't miss a Monday Night Football. I actually go out to eat every Monday Night Football. I don't even care who's playing, just to be there and enjoy the night. So, yeah, Saturday night, people are out doing what they want to do, going to the bars.
Yep.
Monday night, you're not doing nothing.
People are less prone to go out on a Monday night.
Absolutely.
And I think the same thing with a Sunday night. So it'll be interesting to see what NASCAR does. I think that their give and take with the whole situation is that they're going to want it on Monday nights, but teams are going to go, no, that's going to be a logistic nightmare. And it was a logistics nightmare to run it Monday night, and obviously it finished early Tuesday morning. For teams to load up, turn around, and drive out, and then try to get to Phoenix on time. Luckily, there wasn't any issues with that, but Monday night could be a little bit difficult, and I think teams will kind of step up and say, hey, listen, we're all about having a night race, and I think we need to have it on Sunday night, but Monday nights is a little bit too pushing it. Well, we're headed to Las Vegas in just a couple hours. The green flag's going to wave. Who do you guys see finishing the race leading?
I see Kurt, but I still say Kurt Busch is the man. He's going to be there, or Jimmy Johnson. Jimmy's got more wins at Vegas than anybody else on the Cup circuit with 4 wins. That is his track. He owns that track. It's going to be Jimmy or Kurt. Give
me the truth. Do you have to throw Kurt in there so you're not wearing a pink tutu?
No. I'm telling you, he's had some bad luck, but it's not his bad luck. It's he'll get the job done. He'll be there. He will actually win a race this year at some point in time on the circuit.
Andrew, what do you think?
Well, Kurt and Kyle, definitely it's their hometown in Vegas. They own the bull ring out there forever. They're both going to be fast, but I'm going to go out on a limb here and say Casey Kane is going to be the winner this week.
And I'm going to go plain Jane. I'm going to go with Kyle Busch. I think he's going to get his first win of the season. The guy is out on an absolute tear, and he seems to be determined to get himself some wins this year. I think he's going to win. It's going to be a great race today.
One other notable driver, you got to go with Darian Grubb and Hamlin.
Well, that combination is going to do great this year, so you've now picked 3 drivers to win. Can you narrow it down? Who are you going to pick, Jimmy, Kurt, or Denny?
I'll go Jimmy Johnson.
Jimmy Johnson to win the race. Andrew, you've got Kane, and I've got Kyle Busch. So we'll see some great racing today. If you ever want to get a hold of us, give your opinion on what you think of the show, email us, frontstretch590 at gmail.com, frontstretch590 at gmail.com. You can also go onto our Facebook page. Thank you so much for joining us. This has been Turn 4, presented by Kaziski Auto Parts. If you're looking for quality used parts to get your vehicle back on the road, get to Kaziski Auto Parts, located at 50th and I Street right here in Omaha. You can also give them a call, 731-4592. Get down there and talk to Andrew. He'll get you all set up. It's been The Front Stretch, presented by Joe's Karting right here on AM 590, Omaha's ESPN Radio.
Hi, I'm Buddy Ray, driver of the number 25 Party Pantry Modified. When I'm headed to the track or my family needs a fill-up, we all head down to the Party Pantry, locally owned and operated just off the beaten path in Council Bluffs on 35th and 5th Avenue. Party Pantry has some of the area's best prices on food, snacks, beer, and gas, and has a great liquor selection. So stop by and see the whole crew at 35th and 5th Avenue in Council Bluffs, just off the beaten path, where you're treated like family with a name and you're not just a stranger.
Are you ready for fast-paced, adrenaline-pumping, wheel-to-wheel racing right here in the Metro? Get to Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs and see what it's like to race real go-karts. Joe's Indoor Karting knows it's no fun to race go-karts at 10 miles an hour, so they rip the governors out, and now the only restriction is how good you are at racing. It's full-throttle, white-knuckle racing every day of the week. Head over to joeskarting.com for hours, prices, and specials, or give Buddy a call today and set up your group races at 712-256-3075. This has been the Front Stretch Radio Show, presented by Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs. Become a fan of the Front Stretch on Facebook, or email Dan, Buddy, and Andrew at frontstretch590am@gmail.com.